Hello and welcome back to another video. As you see by the title, this is the Apex update. It's just my thoughts on it. It's out a week now, just about, or just about, or just over, depending on what day this video drops. But it's out in around a week now, and I didn't want to drop a video straight away until I got to actually play and experience the new update for myself. And I must say I'm enjoying it. Now, I think what Kane have done is long awaited. We've been wanting this sort of update for a long time now, and not only me, but the majority of the community is glad it's here. Makes things a little bit more exciting when you're starting off. I mean, having to scavenge for food and conserve yourself a little bit better. So let's get stuck in and we'll have a look. Right, so I'm starting here. Everything here is the DLC pack, except for those two big things there. They're not. But everything here is from the DLC pack, the paid content. And that's what I love about this game, is all the updates. Like, the game is not a pay to play. Like all the essential update is free, and then you release a pack that you can buy for not much. Like, you know what I mean? In Ireland here, I think it costs like €4.99. So it's not overly expensive. It doesn't break the bank. But the best thing about the way Keen do their updates is, even if you haven't bought the pack and you're playing on a server with someone that has the pack and you come across their ship, you can still interact with all the blocks from the pack. You just can't build them, which I think is great. So it's not alienating anybody that hasn't bought the pack for playing the game. So I think that was a great choice by Kane to do that. So you're not being forced to buy the pack. The pack is basically just mostly cosmetic blocks. It's the odd functional block, but the functional block that you normally get is basically a cosmetic version of a block that we have in the game, i.e. these beautiful pieces of technology we have here. These are the Mark II ship tools. So we have the Mark II grinder, the Mark II drill, the Mark II grinder, and the Mark II welder. And the detail and that they put into these blocks is something else. Like, you know, with the pistons there on the top and bottom, loosely indicating that this can pivot up and down, or left to right, depending on which way you're orientated on your drill. But you know, with the shape of the buckets there, this to me is the proper orientation. So it scoops everything backwards around this. You can be well to do. So it scoops everything back. So it scoops everything backwards and into the drill. Now, and we have the small version of it as well, the small grade version, which is basically identical, except for the little part on to the big one. And here we have the Mark II grinder. Again, another very well detailed block. I'm going to enjoy putting these on my ship. Now, on my survival series, I use a mod. It's the Super Ship Tools mod. And basically what it does is it increases the distance that the drills can, or the drills can drill, the grinders can grind, and the welders can weld. So it increases the distance of the functionality of the block much further than what the vanilla is. Now, I would love for Kane if they could, the way we have here with the hand tools, that we have upgraded versions of our hand tools, like from the standard tool, the proficient, and up all the way up to the elite. Yeah, so you have 4 different types of tools. If you come in here, you have your standard welder, then you have your enhanced welder, proficient and elite. I would love them to do the same thing with the drills. Like, for example, like if you were to move on up to the next level, it would cause the drill to order increase its range of. This is some of the new updates to the game. Here's the weather here, little mist in the background. We just that so just as well that came. Now we can showcase it. But anyway, yeah, squirrel. Yeah. So if you upgrade it to the next level, like it would either increase the distance that this can drill, or increase the amount of ore it takes in at the same amount of time of drilling. And with the grinders and the welders, obviously you'd want it to increase the range of the functionality of the block. Each level up the grinders go. That's just because there are mods out there that basically do that with these blocks, is to give you a proficient and enhanced and elite version of them that you can upgrade. Right, so that's the Mark II ship tools, lovely blocks. Oh, that's upside down. Well, you get the idea. Right, now over here, ignore that. This is the half algae farm, and what this is basically it's an algae farm. Here's the full version, and this is basically just a cosmetic version of this block that you get with the DLC. This block comes in the update. This block comes in the DLC. But it's basically just a half block version, so it's a half block by 1 block by 3 blocks. If that's the way you can describe it. Yeah. And it just makes it so you can put this onto I wouldn't be putting this onto my base, I'd be putting this onto my ships, because you can streamline it down into the ship, and so you don't have big algae farms sticking out of the ship the way you have with the O2 or the what's this called again? Oxygen farm, isn't it? Oxygen farm. Again, lovely block. Love the use of the water bubbles. Now, and we have a half oxygen farm version of it as well. Which again is just a cosmetic version of the oxygen farm. Right, now we will come over to we'll stay on this side here. So this is basically shouldn't be here. Ignore that, because we're going to be getting to that over here. Right, so we come over to this side, and what we have here is we have these conduits. I think these are great, right? I mean, especially this one. Now I'm going to be making changes to myself and Creator have a mod out, and it's basically an updated version of all the NPC ships that have been in the game since its inception back in 2014. I basically refitted all the ships with the modern blocks now that's in Space Engineers, and I get them a little bit of a facelift, gave the ships a bit of an overhaul, made the bridges more livable in them and stuff like that. This is going to be getting added to some of the ships. These look cool. I have a little light on them as well, and the conduit boxes. And what I like as well is if you actually look at the end of them here, like it's almost like the pipe blocks that we got, and you have the pipe junction. You can actually add these the corners onto the lights there to make it look like this conduits are coming out. Well, obviously not on all sides, because if we actually get one of the conduits up, you see, you obviously can't put one only here, because and they thought of that because there's no connection there for them, and so I think they're lovely, and they will be getting put onto some of the refit ships in the mod. So anyone that has downloaded the mod keep an eye out for these. If you haven't downloaded, link is in the description below. Go ahead and download the video and go ahead and download the mod and give creator a bit of love for putting the ships mod together. Now we got a couple of warning signs. Again, these come with small grid as well. So it's your radiation sign. This is your, which one is this? Is just a warning sign, cold sign. Okay, you'd imagine that would have come with the frostbite update, but still, it's cool. And mess hall again. This is gonna be getting put on at least one of the ships in the mod, and I know where that's gonna go. So yeah. Now we come down here. This is the planter. This is just a decorative block. It's not a functional block. Doesn't do anything. It's basically a variant of the vanilla planter. But I want to get back to this in a minute. The vanilla planter. This is the inset planter, and as you can see, it rotates, which is quite cool. I like that. Now here we go. We have a Type 2 survival kit, and the one thing about these survival kits is they pipe in through the top and bottom of the grid, which is great. Now I'm not too sure if these are airtight because I actually have not tested it out. I'm assuming they are because they're the size of a full block. You know, but the detail there's little pipes on the back of the small grid one. Yeah, so this block also will be getting put onto a couple of the NPC ships in the mod. So like I said, if you don't have the DLC pack, you can still interact with these if you download the mod. You don't need the pack to interact with the blocks on other grids. And we have the Inset Terrarium. This is the forest version. These are basically to go with your aquarium that we have. Again, it's more decorative blocks to make your bases. You wouldn't really be putting these on ships unless they were capital ships with living quarters and stuff in them. But these are basically just for your bases, just to spruce them up a little bit. I think they're quite cool. Now this little snail here, as you can see, I'll turn off me thing. As you can see, he's moving there. He does a lap of that rock. It's quite cool. And we have over here is the Inset Terrarium Desert. And you see all the ants there darting across the thing. I think that's it. And we have a moth here instead of a butterfly. And but that's quite cool. Right, so that. Oh, and over here, now these are basically a more or less a reskin of the freight crates that we have. Is that what they call freight? Is it? Yeah, the freight boxes that we have. You know, there's a small one here. If you open it, it has 500 liters. There's 3 boxes here, so that gives you 1500 liters. And there's 8 boxes here, so that gives you 4000 liters. So you've 500, 1500, and 400 liters of storage. Again, they're quite cool looking. The detail there with basically the canvas on them. So these were more or less brought in with this update because they could be storing food and that. So you have the canvas covering on them. Well, so that's basically the DLC. Almost. There's one block that came with this, which was basically up to go for the last DLC, which was the fieldwork update. So there was a new block that added onto that. We can more have a look at now, and it was this block here. So it's this one is the original block that came with it, and they gave us a second version that opens the opposite way. Now, you know, we're a hard bunch to place, but I would love a version of this as well that opens down or opens up. So we should really have, if that's the case, then they'd have to have 8 versions of this, because you'd have to have 4 inset and 4 standard to open in all the different directions. It's not like the other the square the other doors. Hang on, we get them up. It's not like the sliding hatch door, for example. Like the sliding hatch door can go any way, and you know, because it has in here it has like there's no I can explain it. There's no handrails. That's what I'm trying to say. So you can have this door open left, right, up and down, depending on which way you place the block, which is good. I would love that sort of thing with this, but again, if they were to do that with this block, they would have to give us 4 inset versions and 4 standard versions for opening in each different direction. I suppose that's a bit much to ask for, but that's what it is. Right, now we're coming over, and I know this sort of looks a bit sparse, as in it doesn't look like much came in the update, but this is just the physical stuff you can touch without going near enemies or NPCs. So what we have here is, this is basically your mushrooms, your vegetables, and your fruit. So when you harvest them, this is what you get. So you give us a physical crest. So you can just pick these up and put them straight into your inventory. Right, over here we have the anti-radiation med kit. Now, this cannot be crafted. So you will find this on encounters or NPC ships, and if you're lucky enough, you will get one of these in your unidentified signal. Unidentified signal. Right, over here we have our algae. So our algae farms, all the way over there, produce algae, and you get the algae goes into this block over here, or the survival kit. Now, we'll get to that block in a minute, and it makes a meal pack called a kelp crisp, which is your basic form of food in the game. So you will be able to get these from the very start. Once you get one of the first things you should build now in survival would be a algae farm, or algae farm, whatever way you want to pronounce it. To get this now, these don't give you much food consumption, so you had a lot of these to get your food levels back up. If you're looking on the bottom left hand corner there, the food bar has gone off because I am in creative mode, and plus I didn't want to starve while I was doing this. So in between the health bar and the power bar should be a food bar. Right, and here we have the mushroom spores. So when you harvest mushrooms, which we'll get in a minute, you will get mushrooms and spores, and you can plant the spores. And we have grain seeds, same with the grain, vegetables and fruit. When you harvest them, you will get some back so you can replant. Now over here we have the insect meat, which if you eat that raw, it poisons you, and here it is cooked. And we have the mammal meat, which is basically dog meat or wolf meat. I won't be killing wolves, I like dogs. And here we have all the foods that can be made throughout the entire game. I'm not going to list them all, I'll be here half the night, but here we go. If you want to just pause the video, every time I go over it, you will see what that got. You can make a curry and a chili, you know. But these are all the food packs that you can make by combining all the ingredients that you can collect throughout the game, to help you with your hunger levels. Right, now we're gonna come here to the new blocks. Now these are the farm plots. Is that what they call it? Did they call it farm plots? Yep, farm plots. And we have some fruit and vegetables and mushrooms and grain grown. These blocks need to be fed with one of these. This is called an irrigation system. And what this does is, this converts ice into water and helps keep your plots hydrated, so all your plants don't die. If this runs out of ice, these no longer get water, but they don't die straight away. They will take time for them to die. So make sure your farm plot has ice. This also doesn't use a huge amount of ice, which is good. Don't mind that, that's just the O2 generator I have in the back there. And the cargo container down here. So let's have a look in these plots now, and we'll see what we do. So if you click on this is fruit, and this is 100%. So let's click on harvest and see what happens. So we click harvest and we got 2 fruit. I should have got seed, but I didn't. Okay, so let's plant more seeds there now. Right, and the thing with this is you have your different stages of crop growth as well. So here we have grain, we have mushrooms, which I'm going to get to now in a minute, and we have fruit. Why do we have fruit? Should that not be vegetables? Why did I plant fruit twice? Sorry, my bad, I planted the wrong seed, so let's go back to that in a minute. Right, so while we're waiting for this to grow, so we can see what it looks like, I want to get to these mushrooms. When I seen the bushes that the fruit grow on, there's one out there somewhere, and these mushrooms, I said, I recognize this. And if you actually look up here, these are basically the mushrooms from medieval engineers. And when I seen them, I said, they look familiar. And it's the same with the bushes. I thought the bushes as well were also the bush assets out of medieval engineers, until I was making this video. And I realized, if you come down here, that this little bush here in the planter is basically the bush from medieval engineers, and it's going to be up here now on the screen, for the exception of the fruit. There's no fruit on it. But yeah, I think that's cool that Keen have used assets from medieval engineers and put them into space engineers as part of the updates for the field. I think that's cool. Yeah, the mushrooms are from space, are basically from medieval engineers. You see the vegetables are half grown there now. What are they at now? Yeah, they're at 52%. Right, so we come over here. So once you harvest all this food, you're going to have to make meals out of it. That's where this block comes in. This is the food processor. It is a lovely looking little block as well. Like, you know what I mean? It has the little arm in there for picking the food. It has the foil down there that makes the little package that the food goes into. But if you click on the inventory here, so basically you put all your raw components in there and you make the food. But if you go to production, is what we're looking for. Here's your food items and harvesting. So everything's in here. And your food items in here. So these are all the meals you can make now. And it obviously gives you the ingredients to what you need. So I think one of the best things you can eat is the meal pack steak dinner. Well, I can't make one. But anyway, so what you need to make that is you need mammal meat, you need fruit, mushrooms, vegetables, and grains. So you need all of the food items to make this. Another thing that Kane did was they nerfed the welders a bit. So the welders now don't weld as fast as they used to. But if you want to weld, they don't weld as well as used, because they've introduced buffs into the game. So if you press Shift and B, or is it Control and B? Is it Control B? Hang on a sec, I'm in creative mode. Give me 2 minutes.
2 very boring minutes later.
Yeah, now, sorry about that. I had it deactivated in the world settings, so it's back up now. So if you press Shift B, it brings me your buffs. Now, you start off at 100%. Now, the way you've nerfed the game is, right, when your buff settings are at 100%, your welders are slower. So your welding speed, grinding speed, and your health out increases a little bit better the longer you stay alive in the game. Now, when you die, these buffs get wiped back down, they will disappear, and you have to start all over again. You have to regain all your buffs again. And how you basically get them is the longer you're surviving the game, each time, each cup, I think it's every 15 minutes or 45 minutes, your buffs go up 5% or 10% or whatever. But what they've done is they've nerfed the welders and the grinders and that, so they don't weld as fast or grind as fast as they did when you're on the low buffs. But when you reach your max buff, your grinding and welding speed will go back to that of what they were before the update. Basically, what they've also done as well, if we spawn in an assembler to show you, assembler, so we'll just grab on the assembler and we'll put the assembler down here. Now if we go into the assembler and go production, they've actually changed the way you make your tools now. So in order to make elite tools now, so you can make your straightforward welder. Where's the straightforward welder? With the typical iron, silicon and nickel. But if you want to make a proficient welder, you have to add cobalt. You put cobalt in, an enhanced welder, sorry. You put cobalt and the standard welder in. If you want to make proficient, you put the enhanced welder in and silver ingots. And if you want to make an elite tool, you put the proficient welder in and platinum. So you need to hold on to your previous welders in order and use them to make the next welder up. So I think it's a little bit better of a progression arc for making your tools. So I think that's good. Now, some of the other changes they made, if we just cut to here, and I'll show you now. Now, also a change to the game was the settings here when you come in to edit your game. So if you come into it now, they've broken everything down into categories. You know, so I mean, to start off, you have global multipliers, which is the usual. Assembler efficiency, block inventory size, cargrams, and so on. And then they've broke. The next part is a environment, which enables the weather, sun rotation, and enables radiation and everything in it. So this is basically your environment. And we come down, you have all the survival aspects of the game, spawn distance, auto healing, and so on. So they've made the menu here much more streamlined and easier to use, which is great. Like, I didn't mind the old menu, but this is just far better with everything being broken up into categories. So I think it looks great. Yeah, and now what I was saying there in the video about them nerfing the welder speeds and that of all the welders. If that doesn't suit you, just come into here and increase the welding speed up to 5, and that will, when you're playing then and your buffs get reset after dying, your welding speed and that will more or less be that of it was before the update. So now also the change to the game was the spawn pods. Now you no longer just fall in a spawn pod with thrusters on it. This is the new spawn pod you spawn in. You spawn in this parachuting down to the ground. Oh, you like it? I think it's a nice looking spawn pod as usual, well built. The only thing I don't like is, yeah, I know they added food into the game to make the game a little bit more challenging and harder. But starting off on your world already mobile in a rover sort of makes things a bit easy. It sort of takes away the creativity that you need to get started. Like you starting this now and you're ready to go. You jump in and you drive around. You're mobile straight away. whereas the old spawn pods, you had to use a bit of creativity. You had to mine stone and refine it in the survival kit to make components, and you had to sort of cannibalize one of the thrusters for a metal grid for a gyroscope instead, make a remote control to turn it into a VTOL and fly around very, very precariously, and you died a lot. But other than that, now it is nice. They've made changes to the space pod as well. The only change there now, because I haven't really played it much from a starting point all week, because I've been doing the survival series. But from what I remember, the only change they made to the space pod was they changed out the air vent to the full air vent in the cockpit. I'm not aware of any other changes they made, but if you actually jump into the cockpit here now, as you can see, we hit thing. All spawn pods now spawned in with a pistol, ammo, and a data pad that gives you the location of a economy station. But every spawn pod now also has 4 kelp crisp meal packs in them. Now, this spawn pod also spawn in with 500 iron, 50 nickel, and 50 silicon. Now, I don't recall checking the inventory of the space pod spawn pod, so I'm not too sure the space spawn pod loads in with the. I doubt it, because it's a large grid, and because it's a large grid, you can do a lot more with it, as in scavenging the actual grid itself for components. So I doubt that has this, but I'll check it out. But now, once the other changes made was the whole weather system got real. As you can see here, and as I start talking about it, there's a nice mist rolling in, a bit of rain. Now, we all know if you had lightning enabled in your game, lightning targeted the player on the grids. But it does more than that now, the weather does. So, on Earth, if you have solar radiation turned on, I have it turned off for the purpose of this video, you will slowly be taking radiation from the sun. The only 2 planets I know that doesn't happen on is Earth and Pertum. Earth and Alien, and that's because Alien and Earth both have atmospheres, so you're protected from the solar radiation. But you're on Earth now. You're affected up in the cold regions and in the hot regions as well. So if it's too cold, after a while you will lose the ability to sprint and things like that. On Alien as well, with the weather, you have toxic mist rolling in, and if I'm not mistaken, radiation storms. But I think you have radiation storms on Pertum and Mars as well, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that now. But now I know this. Oh no, you have radiation storms on Pertum, and on Mars you have sandstorms. And when the wind picks up high enough as well, you actually take damage from flying debris. So you will lose health that way as well with the new weather system. So it's making things a bit challenging. It's forcing you to either build underground or build on bases. Now, regarding the solar radiation again, when you're on a planet like the likes of Mars or Pertum, if you're standing out in the open in the sun, you will be getting radiation exposure. But if you build your base underground, you won't. Also, if you stand in the shade, so if you stand in the shadow of a mountain, for example, you won't get the solar radiation effects. Oh, and we got a new skybox, which you can't see because it's daytime, but this new skybox is lovely. They got rid of the green U and have a more. Actually, the new skybox sort of reminds me a slight bit of the Space Just Got Real modded skybox that's out there, because space is much darker now. So are the planets at night time. The planets are much darker. So it's reminding me a lot of the space just got real. As you can see over here, while we're on the subject of radiation, we'll head over here. This is another thing they added to the game. I'm going to stand on this white box right here. As you can see down there, we have a large reactor and a small reactor, and they're both damaged. What they're both doing now is they're also emitting radiation. So you see 11 blocks there. So if I stand here, I'm safe. When I stand on block 11, I was wondering what's happening here now. I'm not getting irradiated. I should be getting radiated standing there, and I might realize it's because it's raining. Once it's raining, the rain sort of takes away the effect of the radiation a little bit. As well, that was another thing. That was a lucky happenstance there. That was rain. So we'll turn off the weather for now. Weather, move weather. Right now, I'm standing here on the white block. So let's move up here and we'll see what happens when we go to block 10. It'll take a couple of seconds, and there you go. You get irradiated. Now, if we step back onto block 11, I'm not safe. The radiation is still going to go up very slowly because I'm so far away in the reactor. I'm block 11 there now. Now, as you see, I'm still on block 11. The radiation is going up, and the closer you get to it, the quicker the radiation goes up. So when I get to here now, I'm at level 7, and it's going much quicker, as you can see there. So we go back to the white spot here, and we'll wait for the radiation level to go down. Right now, we're at 0 now. So there's the large reactor. As you can see, it says 21 there. So we're going to stand on the 21 mark and just wait a couple of seconds. There we go. We start getting radiated, as in, no, because this is a large reactor. As you can see there now on the left, it's going up much quicker. So when we get close to this, the closer we get, the faster it goes, and you'll see it going right up now. So we're standing right in front of this reactor, and we're already at level 18 now, where down there we weren't. So that's another thing now that they added to the game, which I've been hoping that they do this for years, because I always thought it was foolish that, you know, the reactors would be damaged and they'd be leaking greens mist, but nothing happens. So this is another welcome addition to the game. So we head back over here. While we're on the subject of radiation, they've also changed Titan as well to be completely irradiated. So you won't be building your bases on Titan because the entire moon or planet is irradiated. They've also, now I don't have any screenshots or clips to show, so if you just want to see them, you can. There's plenty of videos out there. I suggest Zero's Legion. He has done an in-depth, couple of in-depth videos into the new encounters and that. So what Kane have done, Kane have actually overhauled all the encounters and given us 30 new encounters. So they've taken away the old encounters and given us 30 new ones. Now, some of the 30 new ones are basically updated versions of some of the old ones, but they're basically all the old encounters that only in space that you used to come across are now gone, and they have all new ones, which I think is great. I think we'll leave that here. That's basically everything I can think of. I don't pre-plan my videos when I'm doing them. I don't write a script. I just turn the mic on and I say what I see, and I talk about what I need to talk about on the day. So if I've missed anything, leave it in a comment down below. If you want to see more, hit subscribe, and if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Thank you very much for watching.